Hi, everybody. Thanks for spending some time with me today. So this is a Seven Cups demo. I'm going to talk a little bit about how Seven Cups started, and then I'm going to transition to a demo to show you how it works. So, as many of you know, I'm a psychologist and a wounded healer. So, a wounded healer is somebody who has gone through some tough times or rough patches in life, has overcome them with the help of other people, and now is usually a clinician or a healthcare provider in one way or another to try to give back and help others out. So that's background context on me personally. More professionally, I'm also an entrepreneur. I have another technology company. It's a learning company. So when I was a kid, unlike many of you, learning was entirely offline, and then it moved online. Dating used to be offline, and now it's mostly moved online. So I was studying offline behavior that hadn't yet moved online. I was talking to my partner, she was listening to me, and it occurred to me that the need to talk to somebody, that's the offline behavior that hadn't yet moved online. And that was the beginning of Seven Cups. Okay, we're now going to transition to the demo. So when we work with our volunteer listeners and partner organizations around the world, we're really trying to help solve the global mental health crisis. In our minds, there's overwhelming demand and there's just too few clinicians. So we think we need a new model. And it fundamentally becomes a supply and demand problem. We have this rising demand, so more and more people struggling with depression and anxiety and substance use. Just broad suffering is really increasing. And you've got clinicians here, and I'm a psychologist, and my partner's a therapist, and we have 100 clinicians on Seven Cups. We love clinicians. There's just not enough of us to impact the number of people that need help. So we need a new model. So in Seven Cups, we train regular folks, neighbor, friend at school, somebody that you just might meet in a store or somewhere else. And we train them how to do active listening, paraphrasing, summarizing, empathizing. And those folks work with clinicians, and we leverage technology. And then that now enables us to help many, many more people. So the more of the demand is met. And when you zoom back and you think about Seven Cups, it's a free emotional support platform that has 4 components. So the first is trained active listeners. We have 440,000 listeners, 189 countries, providing support in 140 languages. And listening is really just being a good friend. So paraphrasing, summarizing, empathizing. The second part is community. So we're a global community. We believe that people need to know that there's others like them when they're going through a hard time. They need to know they're not alone, and they need to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. And that's what community provides. The third part is growth paths. You might think of these as treatment plans if you're a clinician, but these are research-backed protocols that help people overcome specific challenges like depression, anxiety, panic attacks, or substance use. Bite-sized exercises designed to help move you forward as you get stronger and more resilient. And then the last part is therapists. So 99.8% of what we do is for free. 0.2% of people upgrade, and that allows us to help cover the cost of the overall platform. So when a person comes to Seven Cups and they're seeking help, they might say something like, I'm struggling right now. And that's the member side of the house. And the listener will get a push notification if they've got our app installed, or maybe if they're online. And they might say something like, want to tell me more. And so that listener, by open questions, by paraphrasing, by summarizing, by empathizing, helps the person feel heard and understood. And really, empathy is just the process of saying, I'm going to imagine myself as this other person. If I was them, what would I be thinking and feeling? And then you share that with the person in their own words. And it's really powerful. And so when you come to Seven Cups, you can also search for listeners. So you can search for listeners by keywords. You can search for listeners by age. You can search for listeners by country. So we have 189 countries. So mostly, if you're looking to connect with somebody that's in your country or in your region, we likely have a lot of people there who can help. You can search for gender. You can search by metrics, which I'll highlight. You can show listeners and licensed professionals. You can search by topic. So we have 45 topics, and we're always adding more to better match and help people. Or you can search for a language. So listeners provide support in over 140 languages. And if you come to the site and you do not speak English, you can come here and you can just choose any of these languages, and then the site will get translated into that language. So you can get additional support and then find listeners that will be able to care for you. And when you come to the platform, you can also look at a listener's profile. You can read their bio, you can read what categories they focus on, how many ratings they've had, reviews, what languages they speak, last activity, people have helped, and group support chats as well. You can also read their qualitative reviews. So if you're chatting with a listener and they do a good job, you can leave them a review. And when you do that, that will get published on their profile page. Listeners, when they come to 7 Cups, they go through an hour-long training program that's got video pieces and exercises. They have to pass a test at 70% or better. Then we put them in front of a chat bot that acts like a student struggling with depression. They have to help that student feel better. Then they make an oath to treat people with dignity and respect. And after that, they get enrolled in our continuing education program, which is what you see here. So there's 280 levels that they move through in their professional development. And you move through it through an interactive process. So if I'm chatting with a listener and they're doing a good job, I can heart their message. That earns me a point. As a listener, if I get reviews, that earns me points. If I complete training programs, which you can see here, this is what the listener back end looks like. So these are all, there's 77 courses here that listeners can go through, and these are all at no cost. So as a listener goes through these training programs, they earn points. And so you can see across many of our training programs, we've added quite a bit. As an example here, you can see this is a NAMI course. Here's a new mom support course, or helping people struggling with obsessive compulsive disorder. But just as an example for NAMI, NAMI put through a listener training program on 7 Cups, and we've awarded almost 4,500 badges. In addition to one-on-one support, people can also have group support. So you can meet with people in a group chat room setting. And those is 24/7 support led by our trained moderators, as well as licensed professionals. So in any given week, there's 150 different sessions that you can access on the platform. And you'll find other people that might be going through something that you're going through. The last part of the emotional support side of 7 Cups is online therapy. So this is $150 a month for unlimited messaging therapy with a licensed professional. They'll respond 2 times a day, but not on the weekends. And this helps us cover the cost of 7 Cups. The next part of 7 Cups is the growth paths, or the treatment plans we referenced earlier. So every person that comes to 7 Cups gets a free version, and then if you upgrade, it's about $13 a month or $100 a year. You can unlock all of these different growth paths. And these growth paths are research-backed protocols to help you better cope. If you're an organization and you contract with us, we provide these growth paths to you at much, much lower cost. So if I'm struggling with depression, I would click on this, and now you see I'm on the growth path for depression. So I click here, and I might have a little video to watch. So I'll watch that video. And as I do, I will move to the next step, and you can see my wellness cup is filled up. But let's say I'm not really struggling with depression anymore, and instead I'm struggling with, say, sleeping challenges. If that's the case, then I just come here. I can click on the Sleeping Well path, and now I'm going to have exercises that are designed to help me better cope with, putting the phone down before I go to sleep, these kind of things, practical steps to help me overcome my sleeping challenges. There's also over 100 different mindfulness activities on 7 Cups that are freely available to all. And then as you make your own progress in 7 Cups, you can track and you can see how you're doing. How many points have you earned? How many hearts have you earned? how many badges have you earned, how many streaks have you, daily streaks have you completed? And a lot of people are fantastic at streaks. I obviously need to do some work in that department. The third part of Seven Cups is communities. So we're a global community, and then we also have sub-communities. So these are what you can see here down the side of the screen. These are all folks that are supporting one another, helping people feel less alone as they better cope with or manage or overcome different challenges. An example of a sub-community is depression support. And so every sub-community has its own forums, chat rooms, guidelines, resources, and leaders. We have over 1,000 leaders that have unique responsibilities on the platform, where they might be a chat room moderator, they might help in the forums, they might help in the leadership development program. There's all kinds of different roles you can imagine as we support so many people around the planet. This is an example of an open neighborhood. So this is a group called the Steve Fund. They have all kinds of activities every week or every month, and anybody on the platform can participate in those activities. Another thing I want to highlight is our research and impact. So Seven Cups launched in August 2013, and since that time we've updated these stats probably 3 months ago. You can see that we've reached about almost 54 million people. We've sent about 1.3 billion messages, and these numbers I know are already old. We have now 450,000 listeners, though we say 430,000 here. And if you're interested in your specific part of the world, you can come down here and you can hover and you can see exactly the amount of people we've reached. So here in the US it's 25 million, Canada is about 3.2 million, Brazil as an example is much smaller at 206,000. UK is higher at 6.7 million. India is at 4 million, as an example. Australia is at a little over 2 million. And then we work with other countries like folks in Kenya, where we've reached about 200,000 people. And then if you're interested in the US specifically, you can toggle to the US and then you can search through and you can see the reach that we've had in various regions or parts of the country. Another piece that I want to highlight is that Seven Cups has been recognized for innovation. We won the Stanford MEDX Award for Healthcare Systems Design, and more recently we won the World Economic Forum Technology Pioneer Award for transforming mental health and benefiting society for years to come. It's also important to highlight that we've received a lot of third-party research and peer-reviewed published articles, some on schizophrenia spectrum disorders, some on perinatal depression and anxiety, and then another one, the one that I'm most proud of, was on Therapeutic Alliance. So Therapeutic Alliance is the best indicator of recovery in psychotherapy. So it's what helps the most. And Therapeutic Alliance is used or measured by a tool called the session rating scales. And what it assesses is how cared for, how aligned with, how much does the client feel like the therapist is on their side and understands them and wants to help them grow. So we use the session rating scale to measure Therapeutic Alliance with our listeners. And what we found was fascinating. Our listeners reached similar levels as licensed professionals in 32 message-based, 19-minute-based conversations. So when you think about Seven Cups, really the best way to think about it is to think about it in the context of the overall internet. And I like to think about the internet as humanity's operating system. So Google's the search engine, Amazon's the store. And you have to ask yourself, where's the behavioral health arm or the mental health arm or the emotional support arm of the internet? And that's really what we're trying to be. And it's an altruistic service. It's free. It's people being a part of a community and caring for one another. And when you think about altruistic services on the internet, they really have four main components. So like imagine Wikipedia. They're free. There's a quality element. They're collaborative. That people work together to help one another. And they're iterative, meaning they don't stay static, but they continue to evolve and adapt. And those are all a core part of Seven Cups. When we started Seven Cups, it was really just users coming to us on the internet, being referred to friends. And then soon organizations plugged in, and then health plans, and then regions. And they all plug into the same platform. So when a person comes in, They can connect with listeners. They can access growth paths. They provide us with data so we can do a better job. They can connect with licensed professionals, and they can be a part of our community. And the broad goal is that whatever the challenges that a person's facing, whether it be depression or anxiety or hypertension or heart issues, if the issue can be addressed with social support, so somebody listening to you, somebody caring for you, somebody rooting for you, social support and behavior change, so you can make changes in your life to better overcome the challenges, we want to be able to help do that and address that. And this is the platform that you're a part of. And that's the way that we scale compassion and care around the globe. I wanted to thank you again for spending some time with me today to learn more about 7 Cups. I hope you found this demonstration helpful. If you'd like more information, or if you want to help us, please send an email to info@7cups.com and we will respond. Thank you again.